The New Development Bank's 9th annual general meeting is set to get underway today at the Cape Town International Convention Centre. Established back in 2015 by BRICS nations, this meeting brings together key stakeholders from the bank's member countries to discuss strategic initiatives, to review the bank's performance and to chart the course for future development projects. Watching developments is SABC News reporter Bulelani Phillip, who's covering the story and joins us now live from Cape Town. And Bulelani, no overstating just how much assistance a bank like this could have, not only for our country, but certainly for our neighbors on the continent.
Well, good morning to you, Ayanda, and to the viewers at home. Of course, as you've correctly pointed out, this is a gathering of the New Development Bank, and it's going to be taking stock of some of the issues that it's been dealing with over the past 9 years. And of course, its main mission is to ensure that it mobilizes resources for infrastructure and sustainable development projects for emerging markets and developing countries. Of course, we expect that in a short while, the president of the New Development Bank, as well as the former President of Brazil, Dilma Rousseff, will officially kick off this summit here at the Cape Town International Convention Centre. Of course, civil society is also monitoring on the sidelines. And now, to take this conversation forward, I'm joined by senior researcher at the Institute for Global Dialogue, Arina Muresan. Thank you so much for your time. Firstly, what's your interest in this summit?
Thank you so much for having me. And so in coming to the summit, we are incredibly interested to see how the New Development Bank explores interests of the Global South. As you know, the bank is expanding. As you know, the bank has a specific interest in applying finance from a country systems approach. This is by far the most innovative approach we are starting to see in terms of a financial institution, but we want to see how we as civil society are able to take this up further and hold our country accountable in terms of country systems. I think that will make the engagement that the New Development Bank has with emerging markets and civil society so much more diverse and so much more robust.
Talking about holding this country accountable, are you having any concerns with regards to some of the funding that may come our way?
So what's interesting to note is that the country itself is a client to the bank. And so when you try to engage the country on the basis of the country system, there is an issue in terms of a non-disclosure agreement that does come up. This is a common issue for many countries, many banks as well. But it is something that as South Africans, we should not just be accepting and just tolerate and take it lying down. We need to hold our government accountable. And so doing so and following the right channels, we need to be able to hold our country accountable.
How are we going to ensure that they remain transparent, these governors of this New Development Bank?
So I think the governors themselves, the responsibility doesn't just lie with them. Yes, they are providing finance. Yes, they need to hold countries responsible, but our own leaders, how we apply finance, I think for me, that is where the point of emphasis lies most. So in terms of the bank's ability to engage civil society, I think that is also a point of intersection of how the relationships can be better built and how a synergy can be created in terms of how a community provides input into a project at country level, but also within the bank, because the experts that are available, the technical capacity, the knowledge, it's immense.
Talk about the BRICS partners. Russia is one of the BRICS members. Would you expect this kind of forum to take any stance against Russia in relation to the ongoing war in Ukraine?
I think what the BRICS do very successfully is they talk about what they can agree upon. And so such a forum would rather focus on solutions. Perhaps this is a good thing because things like alternative payment systems is something that the Global South is looking for, is something that would benefit South Africans as well. And so in this kind of environment, taking a particular stance is not actually productive.
All right, thank you so much, Arina Muresan, senior researcher at the Institute for Global Dialogue. I'm going to bring into this conversation now Marianne Buenaventura Goldman, who is the co-chairperson of the Civil Society Forum of the New Development Bank. Thank you so much for your time, Marianne. Firstly, what do you expect to come out of this forum?
So we have arranged for a civil society meeting with the New Development Bank tomorrow. And what we seek to happen is to have a stronger engagement as opposed to what we've had in past, some haphazard meetings where we haven't been able to successfully have meaningful engagement and really to provide input, for example, in the strategy and the projects of the NDB, pushing for greater consultation, stronger transparency and accountability of the institution.
So what kind of projects would you as civil society want to see coming out of this forum?
Well, firstly, let me just say that we're very pleased for the first time recently that the NDB has hired a top-level professional as its head, a female representative from Brazil, the former president Dilma Rousseff. So we welcome that. And what we would really like to see in terms of projects are projects that are more in support of women, promoting gender equality, and that the NDB finally, after 10 years of its existence or going into the 10 years of its strategy, actually has a gender strategy and a gender policy in promotion of women's economic empowerment.
And the advice that you would give to the finance ministers of the BRICS countries?
Well, you know, the NDB has been a very exciting development, being of the newest international financial institutions, claiming to be a bank of the South for the South. And what we would like to see is not just in terms of its agenda, promoting inclusive, sustainable development. There's a lot of attention now to climate finance, 40% target for both mitigation and adaptation projects, which are very welcome by civil society, but really to understand in terms of that target, where are we at, what percentage will actually be in terms of adaptation to support communities that are tragically affected by climate change issues. But a lot of attention by the bank has been on providing financial support in a very fast way, cutting out the red tape, doing more better than a lot of MDBs. But one of the challenges in doing that by working very quickly is not always paying attention to important matters such as environmental and social safeguards. So with all of its projects, with all of its investments, we would really like the NDB to be more attentive to the needs of communities that are affected by large infrastructure projects. There are two, for example, the large mega infrastructure project in Lesotho, very well known, right? The Lesotho Highlands Water Project, looks very positive on print, right? Providing water, desperately needed water in South Africa to many provinces, and at the same time providing electricity in Lesotho. But what we're actually seeing are a lot of errors that happen in the first phase of Lesotho, where communities that are being displaced, moved, neglected in many ways in terms of compensation for moving their land, concerning their livelihoods and well-being.
All right, thank you so much, Mary-Ann Bonaventura Goldman. She's the co-chairperson of the Civil Society Forum of the New Development Bank. Of course, the focus areas that are going to be coming out of this summit is issues of energy and financing infrastructure.